just sort of emceeing tonight, just to pass the microphone over to far more important people than me. I just dress sort of a bit more sort of like. So it is actually enormous pleasure that I actually hand over to Dr. Yeow Poon, who has not been too well, is not too well. But it is just fantastic to have him here. And it really is. It is an enormous honour for you to be here. It's an enormous privilege for us to have you here. Yeow, I hear you a lot, but I'm not going to go on anymore. I'll pass it over to you. Yeow, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Yeow. I know that if you carry on a bit more longer, both of us will be tears. I'm the president of the England-China Business Forum, and I can see there are some new faces here and some old friends that I haven't seen for a long time as well. So let me introduce things a little bit. You may be wondering why the president of the England-China Business Forum is wearing a hoodie. That's because I was diagnosed with cancer of the pancreas back in November, and it is considered kind of deemed as incurable. So I know Julia said that she don't like to hear this. This will be my last speech. Annual dinner speech, which I do every year. And the reason I'm wearing a hoodie is because I'm carrying with me a pump, which is still pumping chemotherapy drugs over time. And it's just too difficult to change into a shirt and a suit, and so it's much easier like this. So I want to say something a little bit about England-China Business Forum, because there are new faces here and some people have not been for a long time. I also want to say something about our current situation concerning China, and then conclude with how I personally see where we go from here. I mean, when I started in the China Business Forum in 2010, in an informal way, because at that time, 2010, if you think back, there were very few consultancies doing England-China type work. The legal firms were only just starting their China desk, and Manchester started the Manchester China Business Forum, there was the London one, the Bristol one, but there was nothing in Birmingham in 2010. So I started with a few people that I know that were interested in China, had a lot of support from BCU actually, from the engineering department in those early years, the first 3 years, and we met there a couple of times. And then I noticed over the 3 years that there were a few faces that were there for every event. So we hold workshop twice a year just to update, where we share our knowledge of China and update each other. There were a few faces that were consistently there, and so got them together, and in 2013 we actually formalized it by registering as a non-profit in the company house, where Bill and Zo and Sophie are the directors. But ECBF is actually run by volunteers. Nobody gets paid. We do a bit of fundraising, hopefully Bill will a bit of profit from tonight's event to cover some administrative costs like the Data Protection Act and doing our annual accounts and things like that. But all our activities are by volunteers. And we are planning some events after today for the rest of the year, so we will keep you up to date on that. Now, talking about current situation, as it's a sensitive area for us in ECBF because we try to be apolitical, focus on business, don't get involved in politics. But nevertheless, in recent months, because of geopolitical tensions, there has been all sorts of news. There's been a lot of hostility in the press. Many of the politicians in the UK and the US are thick against China. We know that. And it it becomes very strange when someone like me, who actually wants to have a balanced and neutral view around China, end up being, I do not want to be a pro-China over here, anti-China over there, but you seem to be forced into that, into this corner if you sort of try to say something positive about China. But there's some kind of schizophrenic environment that we are in. Because although the politics and the media are 95% against China, on the trade investment front, it's continuing and it's actually growing. According to some stats that I've read, and you can Google them yourself, so I won't go into great details. FDI outgoing from China was the highest in the world in 2020. And FDI investment in China is projected to be also the highest in the world in 2021. You can Google the stats yourself, look at that. So business and trade continues, but the politics is kind of messy and so on. So what can we do about that? In the short term, I feel that this hostile environment is not going to end too soon. But we know that politics do change over time. 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line. And 10 years ago, it was the golden era of China. Now it isn't. And who knows, 5 or 10 years from now, it may be another golden era of China, because things will change. So my view is that in the meantime, we need to persevere and continue with engagement. At the moment, it seems to me that only 2 MPs speaks openly in public. That is kind of pro-China or having a nuanced view of China. The first is Ms. Cable, Liu Dem. Second is Mark. Alan Mark.
Yes.
I got it down.
The Northwest.
Yeah, Tory MP. Yeah. Only these 2, they may be more, I don't know, but I picked up those 2 from social media. And I have a similar view like that. It is about engaging with China, and we need to persevere in doing that until the political environment change. The question for us at ECBF is this going forward. Do we continue to keep quiet and be apolitical and don't touch it at all? Or do we need to raise our voice a little bit? Now, by doing so, I'm not saying that ECBF becomes political. But we can still be a voice that represents the business side view of the relationship with China. And very importantly too, the xenophobia and the hostility in the press and by many of our leading politicians creates xenophobia, and that leads to hate crime and racist incidents against Chinese, East Asian people. And we need to protect this community as well. And we need to, I think as ECBF, besides the business end, we need to also look after the interests of the Chinese East Asian community in this country. We know news from the US especially is rather bad. The violence there against anyone that looks Chinese or of East or Southern heritage. Almost every month there seems to be some violent incidents in the US. San Francisco police reported a 500 increase in hate crime in 2021. NYPD reported 276% increase in hate crime against people of East and Southeast Asian heritage. In this country, an organization called EVR, they got through FOI, Freedom of Information, from 30 forces in the UK. That indicates a 27% increase in hate crime incidences. So it is there. And of course, our hope is that we do not follow the US example. But if the hostility goes up another notch in the UK, it can well happen here as well. So to conclude, I would say that we have to persevere with the chaos, and we may have to think about raising our voice a little bit. Over to you, Andy.